was probably the most thrilling drive I'd been on months. I headed fast into a sharp left-hander, carrying more speed than I felt happy with. I braced myself for your onset of understeer, nevertheless the car submitted sharply and eagerly. I rolled in the throttle as I straightened the wheel. The transmission instantly grabbed a lesser gear, as well as the car rocketed ahead. I kept my foot from it as long as I dared, a little longer, perhaps, then jumped within the powerful brakes before diving into your next corner. I'd been told your vehicle was improved, but I had no idea it may be this good. That was 3 weeks ago from the Nissan GT-R. My drive from the new 2019 Lexus S350 was nowhere close to exciting. I inform you this only since the Lexus people spent a great deal of our press preview looking to assure us the S had shed its boring toe drive skin and was now an honest-to-goodness Helmsmith's machine. And for what it's worth, the 2019 S350 driving dynamics are greatly improved. The new 7th Gen S, which rides on the mildly modified version in the TNGA Toyota New Generation architecture that underpins the impressive new Camry, takes corners quickly and competently. And in the event you relax hands and concentrate, you'll acquire some pretty decent feedback in the steering. Obviously, the steering feels heavy in relaxed driving. On cars with driver-selectable shock valving, there's little discernible difference relating to the modes. Still, when compared to the previous S, which turned into a quivering puddle of understeer, it's a notable improvement. But a front-wheel drive BMW clone it isn't. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that Lexus usually think there's. Comfort has traditionally been the S strong suit. Years ago, a colleague called the S the Japanese Buick, and hubby didn't mean it as being an insult. The S was as cozy like a well-worn couch, so when quiet being a New Orleans church during Mardi Gras. Happily, which has not changed, the 2019 S is equally as placid just like any S of yore. Were I writing the ads, I'd refer to it as a road-going oasis inside a desert of chaos. And that's why I don't write car ads. Unfortunately, there are many places in which the S gets clear of tradition, and to its detriment. Like the exterior, the inside is largely modeled following Lexus LS, for better or worse. On the better side will be the materials that the cabin is built, acres of leather, wood, and, in sport models, patterned metal trim. The attention to detail is exquisite, which can be exactly what I expect on the S. My dilemma is with the control layout. The basics are merely fine. The digital instrument cluster, featuring its silver ring circling the only speed-attached power display, is lovely, and also the steering wheel controls aren't more confusing than every other competing luxury car. And we ought to take a moment saying thanks to Lexus for fitting a good old-fashioned Prince-style shift lever, even for the hybrid S300 hours variant. But beyond this concept it all goes, because the Brits would say, a tad pear-shaped. Let's start using the touchpad interface for your infotainment system. When Lexus first launched its mouse-like remote touch controller, I thought things couldn't get any worse. The number with which they replaced it proved me wrong. There is absolutely no solution to use it without checking out the screen, which can be not certainly wherein driver's eyes really should be. And the S driver's eyes will likely be there for some time, for the reason that menu layout buries common functions in obscure places. Entering a destination letter by letter is excruciating, and in some cases if you program the navigation system by voice, your only choice when the automobile is moving, you still have to utilize touchpad to have navigation started. Same once you tell the voice recognition system call Robin. Also it asks you to select from a list of 12 similar sounding names. And please, for your love of everything is holy, don't get me going on how wonky the touchpad gets with Apple CarPlay. The S doesn't support Android Auto, so my fellow green robot enthusiasts are spared this misery. The S now offers voice-activated Alexa connectivity. I tried it and also the responses were so slow I resigned myself towards the awful touchpad, suspecting that the Auto's warranty would come to an end before Alexa figured out the place that the nearest used bookstore was. To be fair to Lexus, distracted driving is part and parcel of today's infotainment systems, but you are able to make them less distracting. Point-at-Wadi-oo and touchscreens are definitely the best, and dials have the sense spin it somewhat for selections in the top with a list and the majority of for those towards the bottom. Of all the infotainment controllers I've tried, and that's the vast majority of them, Lexus numbered is, I think, the worst. The saving grace of other Lexus models could be the redundant controls, but inside the S these have already been ground down to your bare minimum. The climate control system includes a line of look-alike buttons that work just like, easier to distinguish derived from one of another versus the touchscreen options. Ditto to the minimalist stereo controls. Funnily enough, seat air conditioning buttons are carried out right. Someone must happen to be asleep on the switch. Bottom line, when I view a Lexus about the road, if I spot the driver's eyes within the center screen, I give the vehicle a wide berth. Why am I railing on with this? Well, to begin with, confusing controls and distracted driving really are a pet peeve of mine. And for another, this kind of confusing control layout is anathema to your people. The S attracts older drivers who require a low distraction driving environment. Not that older folks can't cope with technology, my parents' proficiency because of their smartphones has disabused me of these notion, but when you age, you should ratchet the concentration levels whenever you drive. Lexus might argue that this S should really attract younger buyers, but is realistic? That is amazing. Younger Lexus intenders will be happier while using smaller, sportier is, which, though still suffering from that wretched touchpad, incorporates a much better secondary control layout compared to S. If Lexus wants a greater car with a younger crowd, then perhaps it's the perfect time to show the GS somewhat love. Bugger me, I've spent a whole lot time bitching in regards to the control layout that I haven't given you the lowdown around the rest of the auto. Here's what you must know. The S350 is powered by our old familiar friend, a 2.5-liter V6, actually an updated 2.2 GRFKS version with 302 horsepower and 267 lb-ft of torque, up from 268,248 inside the 6th-gen Lexus S. A new 8-speed automatic transmission adds 2 gears and also a wider ratio SP watch. Toyota says the brand new powertrain cuts a half-second from your SO60 time, dropping it in order to 6.6 seconds. Power through the revitalized V6 engine is impressive, though the modern 8-speed transmission is slow to downshift. For once, the S350 gets an Sport version. It gets jazzier styling and brighter colors inside and outside, including an optional snazzy red interior, adaptive shock absorbers, along with a fancier gauge cluster. Along using the top-of-the-line ultra-luxury version, the Sport receives a pair of horizontal dampers, one between forward frame rails and another ahead with the trunk. Confusingly called performance dampers, not for being confused while using British word for shock absorbers, Lexus says they permit for better handling without worrying about rougher ride that provides simply stiffening the structure with steel. It's a novel proven fact that makes nearly imperceptible difference, and because of the S buyer base, I have to wonder if money couldn't or actually better spent elsewhere. In the S300 hours, a 2.5-liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder drives a brand new and more compact version of Toyota's power-split hybrid transmission. Horsepower increased 15 to 215, and also the combined fuel economy estimate increased 4 mpg for an impressive 44, a remarkable number for the car this big. The compact power supply now fits in the seat, and so the hybrid provides the same 16.7 cubic foot trunk because V6 car. 060, if anyone cares, is unchanged at 8.1 seconds. All to all, I found the 2019 Lexus S350 for being something of your disappointment. I applaud Lexus' move better driving dynamics and I love adjustments they have wrought from the IS, LS, and RX. Just a few days ago, I drove a base model RC300 and was struck by how on target it turned out. But when it appears the S, something is lost. The improved handling is welcome, but by wanting to be more like its sportier siblings, the S has left its base appeal, that of a great, low-impact, easy-to-live with luxury car. Lexus has succumbed to your mistaken concept that every luxury car has for being a bimmer beater, and that's really bad. Had they kept the SA message, I might have enjoyed it as much as that GTR. 2019 Lexus S350 specifications. September 2018. Price: $40,000 base, estate. Engine: 3.5 liters stock 24-valve V6 302 HP at 6,600 revolutions per minute. 267 lb-ft at 4,700 revolutions per minute. Transmission: 8-speed automatic. Layout: 4-door, 5-passenger, front engine, FWD sedan. EPA mileage: 223,133 miles per gallon city hui. LXWXH: 195.9 by 73.4 by 56.9 inches, wheelbase. 113.0 inches, weight. 3,649 pounds, 060 miles per hour, 6.6 seconds, top speed. No.